Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. I just got a concept in my mind I was thinking about last night before I went to sleep. Actually, was it last night? Well, it's a combination of I guess it resurfaced a little earlier today as well. Some people really do better when they go to church. Some people really do, man. And I say this with the understanding that I was raised in a church. I like going to church with my mom at times, and I don't go to church these days, but I had a conversation with you guys saying I didn't think I needed church very much to have a close relationship with the Lord. But, you know, I can benefit a great deal from it. I've had good energy at church as well as bad, depending on the church and the day or whatever the case may be. There was an era of my life where me and my mom would go to church on Sundays, and the Lakers would win every Sunday we go to church, and would lose every Sunday we didn't go to church. This lasted like almost a whole season. And that's why it got to a point where it's like, you know, even if the Lakers are playing, I'm like, nah, I don't want to stay home and watch the game. Let's get to church. It's like good luck. Like, you know what I mean? That was a nice little era of my life where it was a lot of fun. But, you know, I also told you guys that I went to Catholic school, had a bad experience there. I had some bad experiences in certain churches and stuff like that. So it's kind of hot and cold for me at times, you know. But to be honest with you guys, when it really comes down to it, church is like, sometimes it's good to go depending on who you are, depending on your relationship with God. Maybe it's important to go to church. Other people, it's like, I don't really need that. And I was one of those, I don't really need it people. But what makes me, you know, fulfilled may not necessarily work for you. And as I was listening to Skip Bayless talking about his relationship with his mom and how it wasn't so good and all that, and one of the only things that kept him from being in the streets, and one of the only things that kept him from doing things the wrong way was having that relationship in the church, because he wasn't getting that cultivation of appreciation at home. He wasn't doing well at home. It was about going to church, and they were teaching him how to be a good man, how to have a certain level of, you know, decorum about himself. And so for me, it's like, it's ever so important to step outside of what is normal for me and to identify what is normal to me and what attributes actually make it so that I feel I don't need church. It's because I was raised by a woman that read the Bible to me all the time, taught me the relationship that I should have with Christ, showed me what real love and support and decorum and all these different things, class. She spoke about having class and being coof and all these different things. Stuff that I think church can teach a person who's out in the wild with things that I got naturally from my mother. If I were out and I didn't have a loving mom, I had a bad relationship, it was a lot of hell going on in the house, and only find peace outside, if I was in one of those type of environments growing up, then I think church would be so much more important for me. You know, I was listening to King AK-47, Voice of the Streets. I listened to him often. He was talking about how he doesn't like when any race of anybody is all in for them. Don't give me that black power stuff. Don't give me no white power stuff. Don't give me anything that has to do with my race being the most important thing that I'm focused on. Because he was raised in a household where in his description of it, they only liked their own people. They only mess with their own people. They hated everybody else but black people. So when you come from that environment, yeah, you may have an exaggerated idea about, and I say exaggerated respectfully, about not having a certain level of pride about your own race if you're trying to distance yourself from the extreme nature of what it is that ultimately you came from. You see what I'm saying? And to self-identify and have enough self-awareness within myself to say, I'm not from that. So it's not as important in my mind for me to be in places where you can get that. You know what I'm saying? In my mind, I don't find myself offended when my own people talk about the importance of coming together and sticking together. I don't get offended when I hear Spanish people saying, yo, we're focused on our people right now. That kind of thing. It can get a little weird based on what the norms of the world I'm in when white people do it. Only because a lot of times when white people have done that, it usually means we want to systematically oppress other races, or we come together to hate other races and things of that nature. And that's more so on the forefront of the culture of this country. So it becomes a little different. But in a perfect world, I wouldn't be upset at a good crowd of white folks saying, yo, this is a white only situation. We're focused on ourselves and improving our people. We love you, but we're focused on us right now. In a perfect world, that shouldn't be a problem. No different when black people do it. But when King AK speaks on his opinions, he don't want to hear none of that from nobody, including his own people. And because I was raised in a household where that wasn't so prevalent in any way, where we weren't so intent on being any one way in that way, I can kind of be more comfortable with more balance in regards to what I accept from other people. You know what I mean? What I'll be willing to listen to in other people's minds, from other people's minds. It's like, yo, I'm not as intense about that. You know, and church is the same thing. So basically what I'm trying to say, I use church as an example, but it's not really the forefront of the conversation. Basically, what I need in life may not be what you need in life, and I want to do a much better job of identifying that and keeping it on the forefront of my mind, understanding where I'm coming from and what made me who I am and why I would otherwise need certain things versus why maybe somebody else may not, or vice versa. You know what I mean? Listen to people say, yo, I need to be in church because I'm not going to have that relationship with God without him, without the church. I don't. My relationship with God is so intact, and my consistency and the attributes I have to read the Bible every single day, you know, and what comes naturally to me and that type of consistency makes me feel like the church is in me. But if I was in a space where I didn't grow up around people who believed in God, I wasn't taught certain things that helped me have faith, turn to faith rather easily, then it would be more important for me to go to church every Sunday, not miss a Sunday, because that consistency is not in me otherwise. So I think we all need to do a good job of that, of identifying what makes us who we are, and when we solidify certain opinions, how those opinions may differ from person to person based on what they are used to versus what you may be used to. And then from there, being a bit more lenient when you hear people have extreme, quote unquote, extreme opinions, or have a hard time with things that come easy to you or what have you. Because it's very easy for us to forget or not acknowledge all of the different things that make us who we are when identifying somebody else's difference in opinion. We just automatically think, well, I'm like this, so therefore you should be like this. But I wasn't raised like you. I don't know if you had what I had. Maybe you didn't. And maybe it's these attributes that I'm not paying attention to in myself that I need to focus on a little more, that'll help me be a little more tolerant, so to speak, of your opinions. So it's hard, man. So everybody has been in their own shoes and no one else's their entire lives. So it's very easy to not identify the differences in others as it pertains to being tolerant with people's opinions, strong opinions or what have you, or, you know, having a certain level of grace and leniency about a person who may be struggling in the area that you don't have trouble with at all. It's easy to not be like that, especially in a world where we're really not taught to look inward as it pertains to just identifying each and everything that makes us who we are. You've just been you all this time, and now we're going toward what we want, and we see people who are different than us, and maybe we're tolerant of them, maybe we're not. Maybe we're tolerant of the fact that people may be intolerant. Maybe we're not. You know, that type of thing is real. Some people have been raised around people who hate people, who do wrong all the time. And they may be able to identify good in you, but they don't know how to identify the value in that good. They may not see much value in that. Maybe the only people that ever smiled at them were people who hated them. So it's like, and I see a smile on the street, I don't know if I trust that smile. You know what I mean? As opposed to somebody who was raised around a loving mother who may be more inclined to trust everyone they see. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. Or maybe inclined to think that love is elsewhere. That's what I used to do. Because my mom was so willing to answer my questions as a small child. I would ask my mom where we going. She would tell me. I get in the car with my dad and ask where we going. He'd get offended. I ain't got to tell you where we going. You a child. Stay in a child's place. It's like, I'm not used to that. Like, that's not what my mom do. I don't know what that is. And as we grow older, it may not be as simple as that, but it's still those same type of little things that ultimately can affect our interactions with others and our opinions of others. Because at the end of the day, we're all used to a certain thing. And as we experience other people, we may find people who are not, very simply put, not used to those things. And so that's what it was for me. My mom was really kind, really nice, had a smile on her face all the time. I was subjected to her mostly as a young child. And then when I started getting around people who weren't like that, I would feel uncomfortable because I'm used to this. You know what I mean? I'm used to a bubbly personality, smiling and all of this, being happy, not being angry for too long, you know, praising God and all of this different stuff. And when you get around people who ain't nothing like that, you start wondering, like, there's something wrong with them, or what else is out here that I've never experienced? I thought everybody was like my mom, that kind of thing. And so that's the importance of getting outside of your comfort zone and get around people that are nothing like what you're used to. Because regardless of what you're used to, you may find value in things that you're not used to as you continue to roam about experiencing things that you have yet to. And there's value in all of it. You know, I think I've experienced something that I can't really put a finger on. I don't know how to identify it, but I think I experienced something to where someone may be inherently racist, but they want to warm up to you. They see the consistency in your smile. They see the consistency in your behavior. And over time, they war with whether or not they should continue to believe in that for which makes them inherently not trust you. I think I experienced that. I think I have in certain situations in this era of my life. A certain person that I don't think really liked black people at all. And some days when she see me, she really happy. Other days she see me, it's like, And I think I really genuinely believe that she's not by her own choice, but maybe by how she was raised or conditioning of her life, or maybe an experience that she had, maybe not quick to trust my skin. But in wars with that, when she sees me and she looks in my eyes and realizes that she sees something there that she has never been told is in people like me, and she don't know to trust it. You know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. I really think that's happening right now. And so that also can cater to this conversation. It's like some people, they've been told who is around them for so long by media and by whoever's in their life, to when they run into you, they are prejudiced and they prejudge. And as they prejudge, then they have to come to a conclusion after you've shown them something that doesn't match that prejudice. So they either can continue to fight that, or they end up letting their guard down and learn to trust you. Now, maybe they don't trust nobody else that look like you. Maybe they do away with that attitude entirely and war with it some more. But at the end of the day, that's what it really comes down to. And so, as I see that, it's like, do I think this person hates me? Maybe, but not me. Just the image of who they thought I was based on everybody they've been told who looks like me and how they behave. Through whatever would be norm to that person. And the more I continue to show them something different, the more I continue to show them that I'm not like that, the more I continue to show them through consistency, never wavering who it is that I am in their presence, they have to do away with that prejudice or potential prejudice, even if they've been holding on to it for a long time. The value of dropping that may be very, very valuable to her. Maybe that's something that she needs in her life. Maybe she needs to see my consistency. If I take my understanding that all people who hate me are never going to like me, and all people who are racist ain't never going to see any good in me through the inherited racism that they have, I can never break down the barriers of what it is that's in front of me, which is someone who seems to me to be warring with that racism. Not because they've been shamed into it, but because they've seen somebody that makes them question whether or not they should continue it. And so that's what I'm telling you guys. It's like, it's a lot of different things that cater to this conversation. But at the end of the day, I don't know this person's racist. I never had a conversation with her to bring out that for which I may think is there. But it's just a vibe that I get from this person and the inconsistency of how they view me from day to day to day. For all I know, it has nothing to do with racism. For all I know, it's nothing like what I think it is. But the point is that she behaves the way that she does, and I identify it as such. It brings about the idea that this could be possible, and it brings forth that conversation. And so that's what I bring to y'all, man. Fathom an opportunity where What you are brings something new to somebody else. What you're used to, somebody else may never be able to get used to.
How you get in here, man?
I'm honestly not sure. Maybe around the corner over here on the left side, right side, right? But yeah, maybe that's what it is, man. Maybe that's what it is. But at the end of the day, man, what we have to do is stay aware of self and what makes us who we are. So that when we identify the differences in others, we're not assuming that people can do what comes easy to us as easily as it does to us. Or assuming that we can't influence based on our unwillingness to be influenced, if that makes any sense. So that's what I want to say, man. Self-awareness, self-control, self-respect. All these things hold a lot of value. The older I get, the more I realize this stuff is real substance. And being able to win these battles is true wealth in life, not just getting a bunch of money. There's value in being held accountable because it can make you a better person and shame you away from doing things that otherwise bring about horrible results and horrible reputations. All of these different things. Being held accountable and holding oneself accountable reflects positively upon others. Listening to somebody to talk about the basketball player Anthony Edwards. I was listening to a few people, different people in different platforms say they appreciate this kid taking accountability for his play. Not saying, well, this didn't work out, so I didn't play well, or I was hurt, so I didn't play well. But saying, yo, I didn't play well, I didn't like what I saw in myself, and I'm going to be better. That quality, though, may be difficult for some who have strong egos who cannot show weakness in the presence of others, will actually bring about a respect that they don't even know they should desire. And people will speak with a certain reverence about them because of their willingness to expose that they are not perfect, that they can put aside that ego, and that they can, in fact, take accountability for whatever error may have been caused by their actions. You know, sometimes it's that ego that gets in the way of us being our best. It's these decisions that people make around us to protect us from our mistakes and for that accountability that ultimately hampers our ability to be the best people we can be. If you're a rich person with yes men, or a bunch of people in your circle or your gang that actually protect you from being held accountable, will fight every battle regardless if you're right or wrong when waging it for you. Parents who will do your homework for you, that type of stuff. It ain't gonna make you better. And being better is ultimately what is going to give you the best results in life. Being wiser is what ultimately is going to help you avoid pitfalls. Being responsible in your spending was ultimately is going to keep you in the best position of having power in terms of buying power. You know what I mean? So it's like if you know how to get what you want, then you're never going to take directions away from that. You're never going to go in a direction that's going to keep you from it. But you got to know how to get that. And a lot of times the only way we're going to get that is if we get around people that are not used to what we're used to, so that we can learn to value things that maybe they're used to. Learn to get used to certain things so that we don't wage war against people that really don't mean us no harm. It's just that they don't know what to think of us, or maybe the way they act would otherwise turn us off because of what we used to. And if we just get accustomed to how they are, then you realize they actually got qualities that you can respect. You just got to be able to get past what it is that you're not used to that ultimately they're going to do naturally. You know, I liken it to being around people from different cultures. You throw up a middle finger to a guy from a certain culture, it means F you. You throw it up to somebody from a culture that ain't never been around that, maybe in their culture it means God bless you. You know what I mean? It's gonna yield you different results. And so that's what I'm saying. It's like we just got to respect the people coming from different places, and as they are, sometimes the very thing that you think is normal in regards to what you're used to may be the very thing that turns them off, makes them hate you, makes them dislike you, makes them think that you're not good or that you're not whatever, responsible, whatever it is. So that's what I want to say, man. I just want to put that attitude out here, put that out there for y'all to kind of take from me what you will. I mean well when I speak. I hope that people can grow, man, and get away from people that keep them from growing. Real talk. Video 44. I thank y'all for watching, and I'm out.